In July 1984, 41-year-old James Oliver Huberty told his wife he likely had a mental problem. He tried to make an appointment at a neurotic clinic, but received no callback. Later, he told his wife he was going hunting for people, drove to the nearest McDonald's, and began methodically shooting the patrons and employees. In 77 minutes, until he was shot by a sniper, Huberty killed 21 people and wounded 19. A wedding procession in the 1960s, USSR. The entire village would gather for the newlyweds' celebration. 19-year-old David Isom walked through a white-only pool, after which officials closed the facility. Florida, 1958. Berta Baranda, 5 years in prison for cutting off her husband's member for cheating, USA, 1907. Kiyoshi Ogawa, a kamikaze pilot who attacked the American aircraft carrier Bunker Hill. One of the first home vacuum cleaners, Siemens Elmo, 1906. In the 19th to 20th centuries, clausophobia, a pathological fear of Santa Claus, was quite widespread. A World War II propaganda poster. Japan actively campaigned against colonial powers, targeting empires like Great Britain. In 1942, a Chinese-American worker at a Los Angeles factory wrote on his back to identify himself as Chinese, not Japanese. A Vietnamese family fleeing to Saigon during the Vietnam War, 1972. A basketball match played on unicycles, United States, 1960s. The defendant's dining table at the Nuremberg trials, Germany, 1945. An unusual invention, a portable TV from 1967. Toy factory workers painting dolls' faces, 1950s. It's believed many employees were deaf-mute, often hired in such industries. A British sailor saws off the shackles of a slave, which the man had worn for 3 years. Soldiers during a break between battles, April 1943. After a 7-day strike, Woolworth store employees in Detroit celebrate their victory. They managed to raise wages by 20%, reduce working hours to 40 hours a week, and receive overtime pay, 1937. Jail cell where Salem witches were kept, circa 1692. The famous photograph, "Thank you, Comrade Stalin, for our happy childhood." In reality, the regime executed her father, and her mother died in prison. A working woman from a textile plant confronts police during a labor dispute over the closure of the factory, Spain, 1986. Days after the coup led by Augusto Pinochet in Chile, with U.S. support, there was a mass burning of Marxist books, Santiago, 1973. The appearance of the legendary meme, People's Friendship University, 1967. Bulgaria, 1940. Exorcism of evil spirits causing back pain with the help of an axe, magical incantations, and burning herbs. An unusual place for strollers in the front of a bus, New Zealand, 1950. Workers clear snow from the railroad tracks. Alaska, 1904. In 1950, the Guinness Book of Records named Klaus from San Francisco the fattest cat. At 8 years old, he weighed 40 pounds and had a 36-inch waist. Cat mobilization, USSR, 1942. 5,000 cats were sent to Leningrad to fight rodents and protect food supplies. Camouflaging British military equipment as elephants, World War II, 1945. Siamese twins Rosa and Joseph Blazek, and Rosa's lover, Franz Dvorak. Black Day, the one day of the year when black visitors were allowed at the Memphis Zoo, 1959. Women from North and South Vietnam, survivors of the war, witnessed the reunification of their country, 1975. German prisoners of war, 1945. A police officer stands next to a member of the Black Legion, an underground group that split from the Ku Klux Klan. Members of the organization practiced ritualistic killings. World War II, veteran playing guitar to Serviev, Japan, 1951. 1865 portrait of Brigham Young, second president of the Church of Latter-day Saints, founder of Salt Lake City, and the first governor of Utah. Young had 57 children, with 56 different wives. Women in wooden swimsuits designed to help them float better, 1929. In 1929, during the Soviet-Chinese conflict, a Soviet shell accidentally killed a prostitute in a Japanese brothel. The Japanese consulate sued the USSR for 22,500 yen, calculating the sum based on the number of clients and the income she could have brought to Japan over her lifespan. In 1954, American Don Pointer introduced whiskey-flavored toothpaste. With 3% alcohol content, it quickly gained popularity among liquor enthusiasts. Election campaign poster with the slogan, "You are the majority," France, 1969. Posing in the style of the Headless Horseman, 1920s. 39-year-old cowboy from Texas, Clarence Haley, whose image was used in Marlboro cigarette advertisements, 1949. The border between Vietnam and Cambodia, fortified with poison bamboo stakes, 1972. Rally for abortion legalization, Italy, 1975. On July 20th, 1924, a game of living chess was held in Palace Square, USSR, Russia. One of medicine's greatest moments, Toronto, 1922. Doctors Banting and Best injected insulin into children dying of diabetic comas. One by one, they woke up. To ensure the cure remained accessible to everyone, the scientists sold the patent for just $1. The Great Depression of the 1930s put millions of Americans out of work. Many competitors entered grueling dance marathons, sometimes dancing for weeks or months without rest, hoping to win money or secure food and lodging. 6-year-old champion of a pie-eating contest, 1916. A beluga whale weighing 1,102 pounds, Sea of Azov, 1956. In 1932, a terrible famine occurred in the USSR, taking up to 7 million lives. This was hidden from foreigners with shows of full store shelves, and the 1937 census was classified. The rabbit invasion in Australia. In 1859, Englishman Thomas Austin released 24 rabbits into the wild to add native touches to the Australian landscape. The Australian climate allowed the voracious animals to breed year-round. By 1926, Australia had an estimated 20 billion rabbits. Packed billiard ball sets made from ivory. The billiard craze almost led to the extinction of elephants, as often an entire elephant was killed to make just 5 billiard balls. A Dutch woman with her head shaved and smeared with tar, punished for relations with Germans. She is being punished by those who capitulated in 5 days, but found the courage to take revenge on their women. Amsterdam, 1945. 80-year-old Tom, called the last cannibal of Fiji in 1905, photographed after cannibalism had officially ended on the islands. Rome on the eve of its conversion into the modern capital of the newly unified Kingdom of Italy, 1870. James Robert Rinrose was on the FBI's most wanted criminals list. When FBI agents arrested him, he told them he had prepared for the arrest as he had been carrying the essentials for years, and handed them a free jail release card from the board game Monopoly. The last photo of the passengers of the Uruguayan Air Force plane that crashed in the Andes on October 13, 1972. Of the 45 people, 27 survived. They had to feed on the bodies of the deceased. After 72 days, rescuers found 16 survivors. We have returned home, USSR, during World War II. Classes in a destroyed school, Angola, 1997. Sleeping with the enemy, collaborator girls of the German-occupied Europe. A French girl wearing a German uniform, 1940. After the war, such girls began to be publicly humiliated. A youth trend of the 50s in the US. If a girl wears a dog leash on her left ankle, she has a boyfriend. If on the right, she is looking. An Afghan war veteran cries, kneeling by a portrait of his fallen comrade, 1981. A woman asks for an autograph from a Titanic survivor, April 1912. Winter 2011. Kim Jong-un consoles cadets who are grieving the death of Kim Jong-il. Poor Renaissance girls. Over time, it became fashionable to have absolutely no eyelashes. They were meticulously plucked, and it was closely monitored to ensure there were no hairs left on the eyelids. Open-air POW camp, Kharkov, USSR, 1944. Korean soldier Yang Kyung-jong, who fought for 3 armies during World War II, Japan, the Soviet Union, and Germany. The last known photo of Charlie Chaplin. Japanese soldiers using Indian prisoners of war as target practice, World War II. Police versus LGBT March Participants USA, 1970. High jump at the 1908 London Olympics. Toys of children, prisoners of the Nazi death camp Majdanek, discovered after liberation by Soviet soldiers, 1944. On an evening just like this one, many years ago, Madonna showed off incredible skill in a bar with friends. Oh, Madonna, 1980s. Photo of the Sphinx in the late 1800s, taken from a hot air balloon, still partially buried in sand. Pilots on a flight simulator, Russian Empire, 1915. The arsenal discovered in Bonnie and Clyde's car after their death, 1934. Love is stronger than all prejudices. Los Angeles, 1957. Elderly woman inspecting Vicky Dugan's daring dress at a film award banquet. Experiment at Tbilisi Oncology Institute, 1967. Before Hitler arrived in Paris, the French cut all the cables of the Eiffel Tower elevators. When the Führer wanted to go up, the elevator didn't work. He would have had to walk, so he refused. Parisians proudly say that Hitler conquered France, but the Eiffel Tower was beyond his reach. The wedding of Freddie Mercury's parents, 1946. Future President of Lithuania, Dalia Grybauskaitė, working at a construction site, USSR, 1971. During the Zhengkai Marathon, Kenyan runner Jacqueline Kiplimo slowed down to help a disabled athlete drink water at hydration points, running with him for 28 kilometers. Because of this, she finished second, but did not regret her actions. English women demand the right to serve in the military, citing that Italian women are allowed, 1915. The kidnapped South Korean actress Choi Eun-hee is greeted by her new abductor, Kim Jong-il, North Korea, 1978. Children's Carnival against child beating with slogans, "Down with the Belt" and "No Place for the Whip." USSR, 1930. Human hair in the German concentration camp Auschwitz, 1944. In ancient times, Santa Claus would collect naughty children, throw them in his basket, and take them to the North Pole to serve him as slaves. This is where the legend of Santa's elves comes from. A British Army infantry regiment before heading to war in 1914, and after its end in 1918. 28-year-old Jenny Joseph posing for the Columbia Pictures logo, 1992. An emaciated former prisoner of Buchenwald concentration camp drinks from a metal bowl shortly after the camp's liberation. April 1945. Republicans were inspired by abstractionism and surrealism. They created special torture chambers for captured Francoists during the Spanish Civil War. These rooms contain beds with a 20-degree incline, floors with randomly placed bricks, and paintings on the walls. Torture also included watching the film Un Chien Andalou. Photo of a Soviet war veteran near the Eternal Flame on the anniversary of Victory Day, 1966. A small black girl in a so-called human zoo in Brussels, Belgium, 1958. A grim reminder of the colonialism and racism of that era. In the US in the 1800s, the side saddle was created so women could ride decently, which was also often recommended for treating hysteria. Joe Arity, a 23-year-old mentally disabled man with an IQ of 46, doctors called him an imbecile, was executed for murder. Police forced him to give a false confession. The smile of an unknown Jewish girl before being sent to the Chelmno concentration camp, June 1940. A woman cries at the gates of the Auschwitz concentration camp, 1981. Dr. Fukushi Masaichi is a pathologist who founded a unique collection of tattoos taken from the corpses of Yakuza gang members, Tokyo, 1987. Stockbroker at the end of Black Monday, Toronto, 1987. An artificial tree used by the British Army as an observation point during World War I. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.